Hello, friends. Let me know what the audio is like in terms of levels, because again, I had to tear all of this scene down to record Be Nice Roll Dice. So I had to reset it all back up again, which I think is probably going to be the standard for these YouTube lives. But how are you all doing? Hobby Hero, hello! I am going to be painting this little Nighthaunt. I got these secondhand, and if you look on the right hand side of the screen, you'll see that there's an album cover, and that's one of my favorite heavy metal EPs ever. It's called And I Return to Nothingness by Lorna Shore. And so I bought these models because I want to paint the army like this album cover. I don't know if anybody has ever like attempted to paint something because they got inspired by something else. But yeah, that's sort of like the idea of this project. So today I'm going to be working on figuring out, why are we so jittery today also? Not touching this. Interesting. Oh, it's because it's this guy, because he's boingy. That's why. I'm like, why is the camera being all weird? It's not. It's this guy. He's boingy. Hey, Mr. Fish, how's it going? So I've pulled out a lot of my colors because this is just a black prime. And then it's got Vallejo Bloody Red on top as kind of like a zenithal. So I pulled out a bunch of colors to see, because I don't really know how I'm going to achieve that look that I see on the album cover. So I've pulled out like a bunch of my reds, my pinks, my salmon colors. I like to highlight, I like to highlight red with kind of like salmons and pinks and stuff. So I have all these colors. And I'm going to attempt to figure out how to make this. So, how's it going, chat? That'd be cool. I like the undercoat and black. Should look amazing. Yeah, like, I mean, this is always a problem when I have, like, an idea in my head and then I don't really know how I'm gonna go about creating it. Sometimes I just get really sort of disheartened when it doesn't come out the way that I think it will. So I haven't done this in a really long time. But you know, it's time for a challenge, right? So we're gonna play with some colors today and see if we can figure out a way to paint at least the red part, which he's gonna be mostly red, but to paint it somewhat fast. I don't think I'm going to paint these to my usual standard. I think I'm going to attempt to do something like I did with my Custodes. The other thing that I haven't quite figured out on this army is how I'm going to incorporate that like misty blue-gray color that's on the album artwork. I'm not sure how I'm going to do that. So if anybody has any ideas, let me know. My OG war boss is based on Lobo from DC Comics. Oh my goodness. My husband would actually like that because he really likes Lobo. The new Chaos Marines Codex looks like a metal cover. Yeah, do you guys know how much it hurts me that I have to listen to like elevator music on stream? Like before I started streaming this, I was listening to Infant Annihilator, and then I was like, I have to listen to music on stream. Kind of hurts me a little bit, but we do what we must. So, Bloody Red is kind of close to Mephiston. So, a color that I like to highlight Mephiston, or that I'd like to try, is this one. It's also by Vallejo. It's called Vermilion. So I think that this is going to be like the first color that we try. So I haven't used this one in a while, so I'm going to pop it on the Vortex mixer. And this one might actually make the camera all weird. just pop it upside down on the vortex mixer. I'm actually super excited for the Chaos Space Marines to get 2 wounds and like a bunch of extra attacks and stuff. I think that's super cool. I'm also like excited because I feel like it's going to be the time of Khorne. Khorne has been waiting in the wings, and I have a bunch of friends who play Khorne, and I have a feeling Khorne's going to be good. That's what I think. Okay. So does it help you guys if I put the color that I'm working on here so you can kind of see? A lot of times people ask about it, so I'm just going to put it there. I'm also going to use like a freshy new brush. I've not used this one before because I've been painting a lot on those Gnoblars, and glazing is actually pretty hard on brushes. So, oh, look who it is, Mr. Lucas the Trickster. All right, so here we go. I'm going to go in with this Vermilion, and I find this color works better if it's thinned a little bit. I struggle with reds. Do you guys have any colors that you struggle with painting? Oh my gosh, this actually looks really close. Interesting. Okay, so one of my rules that I do when I am sort of painting with a new color or anything like that is I wait until it dries before I make up my mind about the color. But this is like almost an exact dupe for the color that is on there. I ordered the limited edition Huron book, and I'm hoping he gets a new model. Definitely going to start a Red Corsairs army. Awesome. So my love of Space Wolves is like they're my favorite. I love them so much, but I just have no desire to play them. But as soon as they released that Ragnar model, I was like, I'm in. I need it. I need it. So I actually think at some point in the next year or two, I'm going to revisit my Space Wolves and add a bunch of Primaris stuff in there. This is like an exact dupe for this color. This is nuts. Okay, I see you. I see you. So this color would be really good to just sort of like go over the first little bit and maybe like blend out a little bit of that zenithal that maybe didn't cover as much as I would have liked or something like that. It's actually pretty cool. I could glaze it on just to like create more red in places. Well, that is surprising actually. That is very surprising to me that that is the color that is the dupe. I heard the World Eaters are getting their own decks. I've heard that as well. Talking about their aggressive vegan nature, they go berserk for Khorne. Hey Jude, how's it going? Is the puppy being a trickster again? Always and forever. He is always a trickster, that one. Okay, so I'm actually gonna just glaze a little bit more red down here just because I want it to be just a little bit more saturated. But I still want that black shade to come through, so I'm just gonna put a little bit of a glaze on these sort of darker areas down here. Other than that, that's alright. I appreciate you too, Mr. Fish. I did say on Instagram for people to bring their best dad jokes, so. Lucas, go see Dad. Go see Dad! This guy. Hey, look, we've essentially got a doggo cam. Okay, so this is looking pretty good. We've already found a use for the first color that I tried, so that's pretty cool. And on the inside, I don't actually want too much saturation, because I want it to look really dark on the inside. I start with a base of black, then dry brush a dark red, then go brighter. Yeah, these models are not going to take to dry brush very well, just because they are so spindly. Like, even just look, there's not going to be a way to really dry brush that effectively, so I'm just going to up the saturation in a couple places here, and then we're going to go and try to find something that's a little bit, I guess, even brighter. But this bloody red spray is quite pretty. I like it. I like it a lot. Why did the Space Marine cross the Rubicon? Oh no. Oh no. Why? Dry brush and launch bits everywhere. Exactly. I don't want that. That would make me so sad. Oh, now I'm hanging on a wire here. Ah, I need to know. Why did he cross the Rubicon? Okay. Okay. So, I think that's probably good enough. Let's try adding something else. How do I want to go? Do I want to go in like the salmon kind of colors, or do I want to go in more of a orange? Because I feel like it goes up to like a pink in the album cover. To get 2 wounds on the other side. That's a pretty dad joke right there. I hope you have a license for that one, Mr. Hobby Hero. Not hobbying at the moment because I'm at school on my lunch break, but I did manage to paint up a Storm Boy yesterday. Ooh, I like Storm Boys. I've always kind of liked Storm Boys. I have a few of them. I think I painted like 17 in one go. Okay, so I think I want to go in like the salmon kind of way. I have this color. I don't know if I would have anything kind of like in between the two, but I really like this one for highlighting reds, and the red is surprisingly really bright in that album cover. So I might have to actually mix these two. It's so funny to have like hundreds of colors and be like, I think I need to mix colors. But I think I do need to mix colors. So I think I'm going to do like a 50-50. So half this, half this. That's what I think. Let's see what happens. And I'm going to throw this one also. It's been a long time since I used this one, so I'm going to throw this one on the Vortex mixer. It's so funny, I don't have anything that's like in between these two. Although I might mix this and be like, oh, it's Bugman's Glow. So I'll have to have a look. Let's see what happens when we mix these two in like a 1-to-1. And I have a little spatula that I like to mix colors with. If I can find it. Here it is. It's actually a palette knife, but... What do we think? If we mix these two, is it going to be like... It's not going to be Bugman's Glow. Okay, that's a relief that I'm not just like mixing a color that that I already have. I don't have a color like this. Like out of all of my pinks, I don't have one. Interesting. I think I actually want a little bit more of the vermilion in it to start. Do you guys mix a lot of your colors, or do you just like go straight from the pot and sort of like make it work? I'm super interested because there's like a growing number of like, I guess, real miniature artists on the internet who believe that like you mix all of your colors. Like you only need like 5 paints or something like that. I'm not like that crazy, but I do like my colors to look like somewhat blended. Hello, Brother Tobias. How are you doing? Okay, so I think I'm gonna start with a glaze and see how it looks. And it looks really bright still. No, I think I need more vermilion. It just looks like a little bit too pink for right away. Okay, that looks a bit better. That looks better. And I'm going to just sort of hit the highlights. Again, I don't want to like go super crazy on these because I have enough armies that take forever to paint. Straight from the bottle. Sushi Man. Yeah, I know there's a lot of people who like just can't like they just don't have the patience or want to do it. So I'm just gonna block in a few highlights. Oh man, this thing is like so bouncy. So funny to paint. So I'm just gonna block in a little bit that I think needs a bit of highlight, and then I can either glaze. I'll probably end up glazing to blend if that's something that I decide I need. Buddy. I have a custom-made fleshy paint for flesh and skin on Chaos models. Nice. I almost always mix skin tones because, like, straight out of the bottle, they're, like, usually missing something, right? So, like, I feel like skin tones, you need, like, yellow, red, and green, in some sort of, like, combination. So I normally end up, mixing them. Buddy, why don't you go see Dad? Why do you need me? I'm busy. It's a lot easier with single pigment paints, which is more often in artist paints, less common in hobby paints. Yeah, I was under the impression that that's what Chimera paints were, is that they were the single pigment. I have the Kill Team terrain currently working on. Nice. My painting skills are so low, so my color schemes for armies are super simple. I just use colors straight from dropper to set palette. except for some contrast paint play, which I love. Contrast is really cool. I have yet to really dive into it, but I do have a project that I'm going to try contrast on. I'm going to try to slap chop these guys, and if you haven't seen the slap chop, I guess painting tutorial, I highly recommend checking it out, but this is going to be my first project that I play with contrast with. Okay, back at it. So I'm just gonna hit some of the edge highlights, and like in the darker areas, I'll probably end up putting edge highlight of that vermilion color back on. But I'm gonna start with this and sort of see how it goes. And so my painting style is like pretty high contrast, so I feel like in places I'm really going to end up taking this up to really bright highlights. And I'm going to rely on the highlights to sort of sell it, because I don't want to spend too much time like painting these models. I have a number of armies already that are labor intensive, so I'm trying really hard to like get faster at painting. I say this as my Nobblars, I'm like going so slow on them. I don't know, kind of frustrated with them, how slow they're going. Now that you mention it, I haven't seen many fleshy paint that just stick well as a base coat. My favorite lazy skin is actually just contrast. Yeah, a lot of people use that contrast. Gilliman Flesh, I think it's called. On my ogres, I actually base coat them in Xandri dust, and then because that color is like amazing for coverage, and then I wash them in Reichland Flesh Shade, and then I mix the highlights from Cadian Flesh Tone and Xandri dust, and then I'll add in an ivory as I go to sort of create even brighter highlights. So it's kind of like my ogre skin tone. Although I just got like a bunch of new models for my ogre army, so I think I'm going to I think I'm gonna add in some darker skinned dudes. I just like mixing up the skin tones a lot. Like my Escher, their skin tones are mixed up too, and I just really like the way that looks on the table. I'm gonna just put a little bit of that vermilion alone back in my palette so that I can mix these colors a little bit in places. It's nice having a low effort army. I want to start Nurgle for that. Yeah, Nurgle does seem like, I mean, obviously some people do go like all out on their Nurgle, but it does seem a little bit forgiving. Is that the right word I'm looking for? A little bit more forgiving than some other factions. But so yeah, and I didn't pick this army because I thought that it would be easy, but hopefully it does end up being like one of those more forgiving kind of armies. I hope, anyway. So, as I get closer to the top of the model, I'm going to bring in the lighter colors. That's actually quite nice there. Do like a little bit of blending in here with that vermilion color back in. I mean, I say blend. My style is not super blended. I actually think my paint style is a little bit more, what's the word I'm looking for? Like stylized. And some people hate it. Like, a lot of people are like, you should put more dirt and grime on your armies. I'm like, no, that's okay. You can. You can put some on yours. I don't wanna. Come on, paint. Have to let this dry a little bit and come back to it, because there's a little spot here that just doesn't really want to take paint. Yeah, it just doesn't really want to take the paint, so I'm going to let that dry and then fix it later. I just started working on Poxwalkers for Kill Team, and yeah, so far way more forgiving than my silly orc creations. I feel like also it like Nurgle kind of lends itself to many different colors as well, which is kind of cool. Also I have like a pinch in between my shoulder blades. It's like making it a bit difficult to paint today. My favorite ogre unit to diversify are the man-eaters. In fantasy lore, these guys come and go everywhere. Yes. I have some man-eaters, and in fact, Scary from Scarcast, my best friend, he found me the lady ogre with the rolling pin, and I'm so excited. So she's gonna be added to my army too. It's too bad they suck so bad in Age of Sigmar, because they are one of my favorite units. So, yeah, I'd like them to be better than what they are now. I think I might have to pull up, once I'm done this layer, I might have to pull up the album artwork and just see, like, how kind of pink it goes in the highlights. Because I seem to remember it being, like, fairly pink. I started getting flack for how I do my orcs. Guy called my camo unmotivated and not very orky. I told him to blame it on the grots, and he responded with a dissertation on orc paint theory. There's always going to be people online who have, like, opinions about what your army should look like, and those people are poopy. Don't let them, like, rain on your parade or anything like that. Because, like, at the end of the day, as long as you're happy, and I get some people sometimes who send me, like, pictures of their army, and they're like, do you like it? And I'm like, yeah, well, it doesn't actually matter if I like it. It only matters if you like it. I should be the only person that you're asking opinion of is yourself. And I think that's why I don't have any desire to, like, go into painting competitions or to, like, try and be good at painting, because I just enjoy the process of it and creating stuff, and it doesn't actually really matter too much if it actually is good or not. And I don't know, like, I am starting to really enjoy like picking interesting colors for my armies. It's like super cool to me to like not paint the box art. I want to paint something else, you know? And to just pick crazy colors that wouldn't necessarily be considered to like go together. And like pro tip, sometimes when you do that, it like tricks people into thinking your paint job is better than it is. And it's funny. So up until recently, I didn't really think that I had any style whatsoever. But I've sort of like taken the principles um that I take for my miniatures in terms of like color and texture and all that stuff, and I've sort of started applying it to the things that I wear. And somebody actually said that they liked my style, and I was like, that's like the first time ever in my life anybody said that. Okay, let me get caught up on the chat. Maybe. Oh, here we go. YouTube is kind of weird in how it like handles the chat when it pops up in OBS. These old resin kits make great conversion basis. Could turn her into a female tyrant. I could, and I could just use her as that. Actually, she's about the man-eaters are about the right size. They're maybe a little bit smaller. I know a guy with the original orc cheerleaders from Blood Bowl. It's cracked me up back in the. They had like the pasties, right? I painted my orcs purple. Now I can't find them. Yuck, 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 yuck. In response to the guy, I kit bashed a truck and painted it even more purple in less than 24 hours. Fastest turnaround on a project. Haterade. I am very much motivated by spite, so I can 100% like understand where you're coming from. My basing helps with my paint job so much. Same. Hey, Scary, how's it going? A wild Scary has appeared. Indeed. I hope that you are enjoying your Monday, my friend. Okay, so I am going to have to blend this out a little bit, but I like that for the next highlight. I can blend this out later. I just really want to figure out the highlights. So this guy needs a little bit of this here. And I don't want any of this highlight color on the inside, like up there. No highlights. We're just going with the zenithal in there. That's it. Oh, these things are so bouncy. Boom, boom, boom. Zorks just have them hanging. Okay, so do I want to paint... They have these like little cowls here. Do I want to paint them something different? Like, I'm gonna paint this, I think, kind of like a patinaed dark bronze. Is I think what I'm gonna go with the metallics on all of this. So do I want to do the cowl a different color? It's like a good question. Not sure. I am not sure. I'm gonna have to think about that. Cause I'm thinking about maybe just doing it black. But the other thing too is, if you see on the album artwork on the side there, like there's a lot of that kind of like misty blue color. So like, how can I incorporate that into this mini? Can I do his cowl that color? Maybe I shouldn't do bronze on all the chains and stuff. Maybe I should make them like ethereal chains. Yes to the bronze, my favorite for undead armies. You know what? And then the bronze, I could do like a verdigris on it, like a technical, which is not the same color, but it kind of is close. Maybe? Like verdigris is like it's like a bit more green though. Also, are you guys enjoying my like verbalizing my thought process here? Ethereal chains could be sick, right? Like if I do them kind of like glowing, so I would paint them white, and then I could dry. I can't really dry brush because it's so like flimsy, but I could potentially. Hmm. Hmm. I could maybe, because there's actually lots of models in this line that do have like chains and stuff on them. Hmm. What do y'all think? Bronze, chains and locks and stuff, or do I do ethereal? Because I'm like 50-50. I don't know how else I would like bring in that blue color. Right now I'm just blending out with that vermilion color again. Just, you know, just because. Blending. I'm not doing like a super good blend on it or anything, just sort of making sure that the transitions aren't super stark. So the paint's kind of thin. I'm going to add just a little bit more of this vermilion color in here. In here. No clue as to the thing you just said. If you do some blues in the base, that could bring it in. I love hearing the thought process. Come up with mad libs of the thought process. You could. I admire your ability to stay on topic while painting. I mean, I'm like super into it right now, but sometimes I go off on tangents. I think I am going to do the cowl black. That's what I think. Bronze for metal, red for cloth, ethereal for skin tones. Oh. Could I do ethereal skin tones? So like ethereal, which is kind of funny. This is okay, so real talk right now. They make that technical paint for this army, and it's basically just like a wash where the color seeps into the recesses. You're supposed to paint it white and then put that stuff on top. But like real talk right now, that's not how glow works. Glow works the opposite way. So you would want to like almost dry brush white, or sorry, you would want to dry brush the color onto white instead of having it sink down into the recesses. You would want the color on like the upper sort of edges. I was like, oh, that's kind of an interesting technical paint, but that's not really how glow works. What if it was both, like a bronze into ethereal, like it was coming into reality? I don't know if I have the skill for that. I would have to definitely do like a little bit of trial and error on that on a model I didn't care about. My painting streams devolve into incoherent ramblings about video games from 2001 by the time the first time. Aww. But you know what? Some people really like the ramblings. While I was in town for the Saskatoon Fan Expo, I managed to grab some speed paints. Going to do some comparisons with the contrast paints to see how well it holds up to my ultra. Aha! You know what? If you do that, I would actually really love to see a video of that if that's something that you're into. Or just like let me know because I don't, it's really hard to tell from promotional materials like how things actually work, right? So having like real life hands-on experience from people to sort of like tell you how it works is more valuable. Dark brown instead of black to tie together the metal and the fabric. Maybe, but I would still start with a base of black and then build it up to a dark brown. I've used that glow wash before. It does look very vibrant, raw over white, even though that's not how glow would work. It does look really nice. It's just I think that they were trying to sell it as glow, and I don't know. It's not glow to me. Okay. So I'm just gonna pop a little bit of edge highlight with that color that I mixed onto here. I think I'm gonna have to move this out a little bit so you can see what I'm working on. And then I'm gonna mix another highlight for up top. Okay. So, and then the highlight's just going to be more of that kind of salmon color. Okay. So yeah, I think I'm going to do this cowl kind of black or dark brown. We'll have to see. I do kind of like the idea of the flesh being that kind of glowy color. Song sounds different from what I was listening to. Totally. Let's, I don't know if that is part of this playlist. It might get me a copyright strike, so let's just change that. Okay, so can work on the highlights a little bit more off stream. I like where we're going with this, so I'm going to add a little bit more of this. What do they even call this? Old rose color into the palette. Shade for your shades, yeah. I've used that glow wash before. Oh yeah, I read that already. I want to try doing that super hot plasma technique for my 40k coils. I did something like that, but I don't think that I did like enough of a contrast between like the glowy part and the non-glowy part. So I did it actually on one of my tank commanders. So I would like to try that again actually. Okay. Now we've got like a true kind of salmon pink going on. So I'm gonna add just like some tippy top highlights here. And I'm not going to take the highlights around into the inside because I really just want this to be really dark on the inside. It's so, like, I have to, like, cradle this guy in my hand because he's so bouncy. I'm actually going to glaze a little bit of this color onto here. It's not as glazy as I would like it to be, so I'm going to blend it out a little. you know, glazy. Oh my gosh. So like I have this theory that if you don't if I personally don't like what I've sort of accomplished, I just keep putting more paint on it until it makes sense to me. It's like my whole philosophy. Just put more paint on it. You could just be in the butt stage of the model. What about some otherworldly light coming out of the keyholes? That would be cool, but I don't think that there's enough of that to really like drive home that, because like look at how much blue is in that artwork, right? Like I feel like I need more than that. A good almost afternoon. Hey Alex, how's it going? That is my exact painting method. Yes, just put more paint on it until it looks like something you like. And that's why I glaze a lot too, because I feel like it's a bit more forgiving if I do want to paint over it or want to try again. I tend to do really thin coats. Because quite often I don't strip models. In fact, I never strip models. I just paint over them. My Custodes, I didn't strip them, and the paint was pretty bad, and a lot of people didn't even notice. So yeah, that's also my philosophy. Don't strip models. uh, those fingers, my fingernails. Did I nail it? Did I nail it? Nice one, Alex. Nice. Noise. Oh man, this like freshy cheapo brush is just chef's kiss good. So good. Silly idea, but if you did blues in the base and then did some wisps with some pulled cotton balls or teddy bear fluff and you make it cloudy like the album cover, I sort of tossed around that idea, but I think I'd have to find a tutorial on how to make it actually look good. Because I feel like a lot of times, because I have like blast like markers, they're like tea lights, the LED tea lights that sort of flicker, and then there's cotton around it that's like sprayed, um, and it's just always sort of looks like cotton, you know. Um, so yeah, but I did toss around that idea. But yeah, I just need to figure out how to like actually do it so it makes sense. So we can trick the eye into thinking it's actually like not necessarily smoke, but like mist. I was thinking too, like I could just like cop out and do like a display board. I just make the display board background like the kind of bluey color. Because I did want to do, see on how on like the bases or the base of the picture, it's actually just really dark wood. I kind of just wanted to do something like that. I acquired some stripper for Chaos Space Marines. Army Painter primer is way too thick. Yeah, I don't hate that primer, but it's not like my favorite. I would rather use the Citadel stuff, but for colored primers, a lot of the times I've been using Vallejo. Although I don't like the metallic ones. Washes don't like it. And then I just been using like a Rust-Oleum primer, which I really like. Although the nozzles get clogged, so that's kind of a pain in the ass. But it's cheap. My habit of eBay rescues. Yeah, I've been almost exclusively doing secondhand models. Just because like the price of GW is getting a little bit crazy. It's definitely out of my reach to start a brand new army. So yeah, I just been rescuing models. This is a rescue. This little cutie guy. Buddy, do you have to? I bought it up before, but I still have the Chaos Hell Cannon. Nice. Rust-Oleum 2 times. Yeah, all day, every day. Yeah, Mr. Fish, I use the same stuff. Not the biggest fan either. White one actually just rubs off. Oof. Oof. Keith gave me an old airbrush compressor and I picked up a cheap airbrush from Princess Auto just for priming. Thin down Vallejo Gray I heard is good. Interesting. I have heard that the Vallejo airbrush primer is really good. I just don't airbrush, so you gotta find like other things, you know? But yeah, for a spray can, I really do like the Rust-Oleum stuff. It's like super matte. Like their matte one is super matte. And paint just like loves it. Just sticks to it like glue. I'm like in the zone, folks. Sorry. The zone. Okay. I do like where this is going. I do. Just add a little bit here. This might have to be glazed, actually. Just a little bit here. And so when you're glazing, you want to like pull the paint and end where you think the highlight is going to be the brightest. So for me, that's like right here. So a lot of times with paint, you want to make sure that you're painting all in the same direction, but with glazing, you almost have to not do that. So that's a little tip that took me probably a year to figure out what I was doing wrong. But I did it, y'all. I did it. And I went a little bit too far up with this color. So I'm going to go back in with the Vermilion. And I'm going to do like the opposite. I want most of the Vermilion to be underneath his like little cowl thing. So, because I'm glazing the shadow on essentially here. So I'm going to do the opposite. I'm going to start out at the bright part and I'm going to move back. Okay. So that looks pretty good. What do y'all think? I think it looks pretty good. I think I might actually hit it in a couple places, not many places, but with just this pink color, just a hint, and only on really, really sharp edges near the top. So I think I want a little bit here, just like the slightest little bit there. Where else might I have this? I see I'm going to need to blend this out a little bit. I think a little bit here. Here. Whoops. Whoops, whoops, whoops. I did a whoopsies, so you gotta flood it. And I'll let that dry before I come back to that. I had to grab Army Painter because the Chaotic Red Primer was the only one with the right shade I could find. Yeah, because it's a bit darker, right? Prices are going insane. I pretty much only buy CLGW product if I make a video or if I can't find it secondhand. Same. Yeah. Although more and more I've been looking for like third party, like if I can't find it and it's really expensive. I'm not like I can do third party. I don't play in like tournaments anymore. Well, that's not true. I'm gonna be doing a tournament in June for Age of Sigmar, but a lot of the tournaments that I go to are like not GW tournaments, so I can bring like the odd 3D printed thing here and there. So on these holes in his cloak, I'm only going to be touching the bottom because that's like where the light would be hitting. But yeah, that's like pretty much all that I'm going to hit on that side with this bright pink. So we'll do this side. And again, here we've got some holes, so I'm only going to do like the bottom. So I'll do here. Oops. To the bottom. Just kind of hard to like deal with the boinginess of this model. The boinginess. And again here, we'll just put a little bit here. And then just hit a little bit of the sharp points here. Boing! Hit here. maybe just a little bit here. So you really don't want too much, because you just want to catch like the super sharp bits. Now I'm going to do a little bit here. It's a bit too thick. That's pro edge highlight tip. I don't know if it's pro. I'm definitely not a pro painter. And like, it doesn't matter here that I've nicked this, because I'm gonna paint that something else. Haven't quite decided yet, but something. I know Orky struggled with them too when she was trying a fire-inspired blend. Things bounce around like a weeble wobble. They do. They do. But I'm like quite happy with how that turned out. I might do a little bit of blending, not on this side, but on this side. I'm not quite happy with how this turned out here. So I might do a little bit of that. But that is 2 colors. So that red, it's the undercoat. So that's Bloody Red, Vallejo Red spray on top. And then it's these 2 colors, y'all. And you know what's funny? Like, I totally anticipated this being, like, more of a, ooh, that doesn't work, let's try something else. Ooh, that doesn't work, let's try something else. And then here we are, and, like, the 2 colors I had in mind are the 2 colors that ended up working. That's hilarious. That's so funny. And yeah, I'm not going to touch the inside because I just really like the way that it looks. All dark and spoopy on the inside. But yeah. That's it. That's the red. Yeah, I'm gonna have to figure out what to do ethereal kind of looking. I do like the idea of doing the skin kind of ethereal. But I do kind of like the idea of like all of the chains and stuff being ethereal. Because in the picture, the weapons and stuff are black or dark. They're dark, whatever color. But the hand, you see there's like a hand. You can like pull up this. It's the album and I Return to Nothingness. The hand is almost like a fleshy color. So I kind of like the idea, because like a lot of them have skulls, but I do kind of like the idea of them being like ethereal. Because then they'd have like glowing eyes, and they would sort of come out to this like darker, almost like rust gray kind of color. I'm gonna have to like sit down and like actually think about it. But like once I throw the gray or the black on that cowl, for some reason I don't have Vallejo black, the model color black, which is my favorite. So I've got this. I've got this army painter one that I've been working with. It's not bad. It's not Vallejo though. Maybe I'll just like throw a little bit of this black on so we can see how it would look with this cowl being black or dark. I'll have to do highlights on it, so, and I probably would end up doing brown highlights. I mean, I could do a dark red. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to do this. So I'll paint one side black, and then I'll do another side dark red, and we can see what we think looks better. I'm not going to do it super well, just so that we can sort of see. Because I'm not sure what would look better. If we want to keep it mostly red, Black is weird also. God, it's so bouncy. Also, I normally paint up close to my nose, so having it be so bouncy and then also like really far away from my face, it's a little difficult. Okay. Okay, that's good enough for us to sort of tell. So black. Or, what do I have for dark reds? I have this one. I don't know how well it goes on. I would probably have to base coat it black to start. But let's try this. This is Scarlet Red by Game Color. Hey, Aaron, how's it going? He's only mostly red. Oh. Did you know that The Princess Bride is like my favorite movie of all time? All hail the Sigmar Queen. I don't know if I would go that far. That's a bit. It's a bit too much. I'm a newbie at Sigmar. Oh, buddy. You want to go for a walk soon, bud? Yeah, he's gonna need to go for a walk soon. Nah, it's gonna have to be black, I think. Although if because that's just not like different enough. Although if I like did highlights, like the top highlights, this red, I could also like mix, so I could go from like the black to this red. Hey buddy, we're gonna go soon. So it's still like a little bit wet here, so I can kind of blend it a little bit and see. Gosh, you're so cute, buddy. I know. That's not terrible, actually. If I did like black, I could even like wet blend it. So like the red was like the top highlight. Gory Red is a good dark red. I don't have that one. But, I mean, I could wet blend that from black to that kind of red. It's everyone's favorite movie. Even people who never saw it, they just don't know it's their favorite yet. They just need to see it the first time. Actually, yeah, the more that I look at it, the more that I like the, like, black up to red. I think that's what I'm going to end up doing. However, I am 10 minutes over schedule, and my little puppy dog, he says he needs to go for a walk. So, I'm going to call it there. What do you guys think of the red cloaks that we did? Like, I think it's pretty close, right? Let me see if I can. I don't think I can make this any bigger without it, like being super pixelated. But, like, it's pretty close, right? It's, like, a little bit more yellow from the top because it's got, like, sun or whatever. But, like, that's pretty close. Pretty happy with it. I'm pretty happy with that. I still prefer Casablanca. Yeah, not that red, but, like, the black with the red highlight on the cowl. Chef's kiss. Alright, folks, so I'm going to call it there. Thank you so much for hanging out with me today and helping me figure out that I could do this, like, pretty fast. I think now that I know what I'm doing with it, I think on all the rest of them, it'll go super duper fast. So thanks for hanging out with me and looking awesome, excited to see how the army looks with a bunch of these scary guys out there. Me too. I think it'll look really cool. So thanks for hanging out, and I will see everybody next Monday. And Wednesday there'll be some rules shorts coming out on YouTube as well. So stay tuned for that. And then Thursday and Friday, live streaming with Scary in the morning. So don't miss out on that as well, because we have some amazing guests this week. Thank you, everybody. And remember to be nice and roll dice. Bye-bye.